Hey everyone, welcome to Nim's Choco Fantasy. Today I'll be sharing a recipe for macarons. A macaron is a sweet meringue based cookie made with egg white, icing sugar, granulated sugar, almond flour, and sometimes food coloring. There are few methods for making macarons like French, Italian, and Swiss. Swiss isn't that common, but Italian macarons are pretty popular. For this method, lot of processes is involved than French macarons. So if you are a beginner, I would suggest to try out French macarons to start with. So here I am going to show you a French macaron recipe with a slight change. For this, take 45 grams of almond flour. Make sure to use only almond flour and not almond meal. Almond flour is much finer and it is made from blanched skinless almonds, whereas almond meal is coarser and it contains almond skin. If your almond flour has moisture in it, you can dry roast it just for few seconds, cool it and use it. Now to this add 40 grams of powdered sugar. This is normal sugar which is powdered. Add it to this. Pulse this for few seconds just to incorporate both these ingredients and to grind it much finer. You can see that both the ingredients are mixed properly and it is very fine. Now we need to sift this. We don't want any lumps in it. If there are any lumps, our macarons won't come out properly. Discard this leftover. Don't add it to the mixture. So here we have our dry ingredients ready. Keep this aside. So this is the different step that I do for the French macaron recipe. Heat some water in a bowl. Keep it in low flame. Place a bowl on top of this and put 40 grams of egg white. Be very careful while separating the eggs. We don't want any yolks in it. Also, make sure that all the bowls, beaters, spatulas that are using for making macarons should be clean without any moisture in it. You can just wipe them with little bit of vinegar before using them. Now, to this add 35 grams of castor sugar. Make sure to add only castor sugar which has superfine sugar granules, which is the best size to give optimal structure for the macarons. Keep whisking this. The temperature of the mixture should not go above 50 degrees Celsius. You can use a thermometer to check this. If you don't have one, keep it in a very low flame and just touch the mixture. Once the sugar is completely melted, take it out. Whisk for a few seconds to cool it out a bit. Now whip this up using a hand mixer or a stand mixer into stiff peaks. Some people get confused with macarons and macaroons. They both are not the same. Macaroons are coconut cookies while macarons are delicate sandwich cookies made with almond flour. So by this time you can see that our egg whites have whipped beautifully into stiff peaks. This is what we call as meringue. You can add the almond flour mixture into this. Gently start mixing the almond flour mixture into the meringue. You need to keep folding and deflating air until you reach the perfect consistency. This process of mixing macaron batter into a shiny and flowy consistency is called as macaronage. This is a very crucial step in macaron making. During this stage, you want to be sure not to overmix or undermix the batter. If your batter is undermixed, you get a lumpy or hollow macarons. At the same time, if it is overmixed, you get a cracked macarons or macarons without any feet. Now you can add food coloring. Always add gel food colors and don't use liquid food colors. You can either add the food coloring at this stage or you can add it to the meringue. When you drop the macaron batter off from the spatula, it should flow like a continuous stream, like honey, and it should not take not more than 10 seconds to sink back into itself. If it sinks back very quickly, that means your batter is overmixed and it is too thin. If it takes longer to sink back, fold the batter again to deflate more air. Put a piping tip inside a piping bag and then place it in a large cup, folding the top of the piping bag around the rim of the cup. Then lift the piping bag out of the cup and twist the end to seal in the batter. Now place it back inside the cup and spoon the batter inside the piping bag. Twist the end and place it under a bowl so that no moisture gets into it. On a baking tray, place a parchment paper or a silicone mat and start piping the batter. You can pipe around 1.5 to 2 inch circles. I just eyeball it. And most importantly, don't use a butter paper. Always use a silicone mat or a parchment paper. These cookies require precision, patience and lot of practice. I have been baking macarons for quite a long time, still sometimes I mess it up. Once piping is done, tap your baking tray on the counter a couple of times to pop out any air bubbles. Use a toothpick to pop any smaller air bubbles. These air bubbles will create cracks in your macaron shells, so don't skip this step. Another crucial step is to dry the shells before baking them. You have to dry it for approximately 30 to 60 minutes or more till the top of the shell is no longer tacky when you touch them. When you dry them properly, the top firms up and form a skin, and this helps the macarons to rise up and form the feet while baking. The main problem here is if the weather is humid, it's very difficult to dry out these macaron shells. So here I'll show you an oven drying method. What I do is I preheat my oven at 120 degrees Celsius, switch it off, and then I place the tray inside without switching it on. I close the door not completely and I leave it like this for 2 to 3 minutes. You can put a timer. If after 3 minutes the macaron shells are not dried, take out the tray and again preheat the oven at 100 degrees Celsius, switch off, and then place the tray back in with the door not completely closed and leave it there for approximately 30 to 40 seconds. After that, when you touch the macaron shells, you can see that it is dried and it is not sticking to your finger. See, when I am touching it, it's not sticking to my finger. Now preheat the oven at 130 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Place this in the preheated oven at 130 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. Here you can see that my macaron shells have a slight dent in the center. This is because my power went off in between and it came back only after 15 minutes. So that's the reason it's looking like this. But it baked beautifully and formed feet. To test whether it is done or not, lightly touch the top of the macaron with your finger. If the macaron looks wobbly, it is not done and it would need another 1 to 2 minutes of baking. If the macaron shells don't move around when touched, that means it is done. Let this cool on the baking tray for 15 minutes, then transfer it onto a cooling rack to continue cooling. Once it is cooled completely, it will be easy for you to take it out from the parchment paper or silicone mat. The bottom portion that you see here on the macaron shells are called as macaron feet. You can place these macaron shells in an airtight container and place this in the fridge and it will be good for approximately 10 to 15 days. But I would suggest you to use it up within a week or else the taste would slightly change. It's very difficult to bake a perfect macaron. I'm not saying that I always bake a perfect macaron. I have also messed up many times. This recipe is perfect, but the right mixing and baking temperature, baking time, everything matters. This is not a cookie that you can perfect in a single attempt. You might have to try many times to get an understanding of the process. Once you get a hang of it, they are easily doable. If it didn't come out perfectly in 2 attempts, don't worry, do it again. Even the ugly ones are delicious. Just put some filling and no one cares about its looks. It's that tasty. As I told earlier, my macaron shells had a dent in the center as the power went off in the middle of baking. So I made a fresh batch and this time everything fell in place, and you can see here they came out beautiful. Macarons can be filled with a variety of fillings like buttercream, chocolate ganache, jams, lemon curd, salted caramel, peanut butter, Nutella, dulce de leche, and many more. Once you have filled the macarons, put them in an airtight container and refrigerate them for at least 12 to 24 hours so the macarons and flavors can mature. Before serving, bring them to room temperature and enjoy. I will upload more macaron recipes with various methods so that you can try and follow the one that works for you. So some points to remember while doing macarons are: make sure that the bowls, beaters and spatula that you are using should be clean without any moisture. Egg whites should be in room temperature without any egg yolks in it. Beat the egg whites to stiff peaks. Use fine almond flour and not almond meal. Use castor sugar and not granulated sugar. Mix the dry ingredients into the meringue just until you get a perfect macaronage. The consistency of the batter is very important. Before baking, make sure that the macaron shells are completely dried out. Baking temperature is equally important, so make sure you use an oven thermometer to check the inside temperature of the oven. If you fail in the first attempt, don't worry, try it again and again, and I am sure at one point you will be able to make a perfect macaron. So that's it guys. If you have any doubt about macarons, put in a comment and I'll try to guide you. See you again in the next video with more yummy recipes and tutorials. Till then, bye bye.